Before the Age of Empires, before nations built their treasuries on conquest and gold, money flowed through quieter channels. It was a time when finance was a family affair, a craft passed down through generations. In the bustling merchant cities of Renaissance Europe, amidst the clinking of silver coins in candlelit counting houses from Hamburg to Venice, a new kind of power was taking root. And one name, whispered in the corridors of commerce, was the Warburgs. They were not kings or conquerors, but their influence would shape the destiny of nations. This is the story of a dynasty that operated in the shadows, a family that built a financial empire not with swords, but with ink, trust, and a vision that would span 400 years. As the 18th century dawned, the Warburg name became synonymous with a new kind of institution, the private bank. Inside the mahogany-lined offices of M.M. Warburg and Koren in Hamburg, the world was being meticulously cataloged in sprawling ledgers. Here, amidst the scratch of quill pens and the quiet rustle of paper, the family forged a reputation for precision and discretion. While their contemporaries, the Rothschilds, were building opulent palaces in London and Paris, dazzling Europe with their flamboyant wealth, the Warburgs cultivated a different aesthetic. Their power wasn't displayed in gold leaf and marble, but in the unwavering reliability of their bookkeeping and the silent trust they earned from merchants and monarchs alike. Theirs was a world of quiet confidence and calculated risk. The 19th century accelerated everything. Steam, steel, and telegraph wires began to shrink the globe, and the Warburgs were at the heart of this new, interconnected world. Their financial network pulsed with the rhythm of modernity. Steamships carried their gold shipments across treacherous oceans, while telegraphs buzzed with encrypted deals, connecting Hamburg, London, and New York in a seamless web of capital. Imagine a single moment, split across continents, a deal being sealed with a handshake in a London office, a telegram confirming its terms in New York, and a ledger entry finalizing it in Hamburg. The Warburgs weren't just participating in this new global economy. They were architecting its very plumbing, ensuring that capital could flow as freely and as quickly as the new technologies would allow. Into this thriving enterprise, a new generation was born, destined to elevate the family's influence to unimaginable heights. Meet the brothers, Paul and Max Warburg, two brilliant heirs of the dynasty, each with a unique genius for finance. Max, the pragmatist, remained in Hamburg, meticulously expanding the family bank, strengthening its foundations, and turning it into a European powerhouse respected in every capital. Paul, the visionary, looked abroad. He journeyed to the financial centers of London and New York, not just to learn, but to deconstruct. He was a student of systems, obsessed with understanding the underlying mechanics of modern banking, searching for the flaws and inefficiencies that others overlooked. Together, they formed a perfect partnership, one rooted in tradition, the other looking to the future. While the Warburgs expanded their influence, another family name dominated the headlines and the landscapes of Europe: Rothschild. Their palaces were landmarks, their parties were the talk of high society, and their name was synonymous with immense visible power. The Warburgs, by contrast, operated on a different plane. They moved discreetly, building their networks and finalizing their deals away from the public gaze. Where the Rothschilds shone in the bright light of public spectacle, the Warburgs built their empire in the shade. It was a conscious strategy. They understood that the greatest power is often the least visible, that true influence wasn't about commanding attention, but about shaping outcomes from behind the scenes. They were the quiet architects, while others were the celebrated kings. In 1897, Paul Warburg's journey of discovery led him across the Atlantic. He arrived in New York and was immediately astonished, even appalled, by what he found. Wall Street was a scene of exhilarating, yet terrifying, chaos. Ticker tapes fluttered from windows like confetti. Horse-drawn carriages jostled with frenetic messengers, and the entire American banking scene was a patchwork of thousands of independent banks with no central coordination. It was a system prone to wild speculation, sudden panics, and devastating crashes. Paul saw a nation of immense economic potential hobbled by a primitive, unstable financial system. It was a problem that fascinated him and one he felt uniquely qualified to solve. The raw, untamed energy of America was about to meet the refined, systematic mind of Paul Warburg. Deep within the mahogany boardrooms of New York's financial elite, away from the chaos of the streets, Paul Warburg began his quiet revolution. He wasn't a politician or a public figure. He was a scholar of finance, a man who thought in blueprints and systems. With calm, persuasive logic, he began to sketch out a radical new vision for American banking. He argued that what America needed was not more risk, but more stability, not more independence, but more interdependence. He envisioned a central banking system, an institution that could act as a lender of last resort, manage the money supply, and bring order to the nation's financial markets. Out of chaos, he sought order. His goal wasn't personal power or profit, but permanence, a financial foundation strong enough to support America's rise as a global power. The culmination of Paul's vision arrived in a cloak of secrecy. In November 1910, a group of the nation's most powerful bankers boarded a private train car under the cover of night, bound for a secluded destination, Jekyll Island, off the coast of Georgia. For 10 days, shrouded in fog and sworn to secrecy, they debated, argued, and refined a plan. At the center of it all was Paul Warburg and his blueprint for a central bank. The framework they created on that isolated island, largely based on Warburg's meticulous design, would become the foundation for one of the most powerful financial institutions in the world, the United States Federal Reserve. It was a secret meeting that would forever change the course of American and global finance. But as Paul was reshaping America's financial destiny, dark clouds were gathering over his ancestral home in Europe. The intricate web of alliances and rivalries that had defined the continent for centuries was beginning to unravel, pushing the great powers toward an inevitable conflict. In a profound act of allegiance to his new home and his vision, Paul Warburg became a U.S. citizen. His brother, Max, a patriot in his own right, remained in Germany, deeply loyal to the fatherland and a key advisor to the Kaiser. The two brothers, once partners in a shared financial dynasty, now found themselves on opposite sides of a deepening geopolitical chasm. The storm of war was brewing, and it threatened to tear their family and the world apart. In the final tense months before the outbreak of World War I, the telegraph wires that once carried news of shared financial triumphs now buzzed with urgent coded messages between the two brothers. Bound by blood, yet divided by borders and national loyalties, they tried to navigate an impossible situation. Their correspondence was a tightrope walk of family affection and political reality, a desperate attempt to hold on to a personal bond as their respective nations prepared for battle. The world they had helped build, a world of seamless global commerce, was about to be shattered. A war was coming that would not only pit nation against nation, but brother against brother, forcing a choice between loyalty to family and loyalty to country. Orchestral music with a sense of gravitas and history begins, then fades to a low, suspenseful tone. Have you ever heard of a family that held the purse strings of warring empires? A name whispered in the halls of power, yet almost erased from the history books? Today, we uncover the astonishing true story of the Warburgs, the invisible architects of modern finance who found themselves trapped on opposite sides of the First World War. This isn't just a story about money. It's a tale of brotherhood, loyalty, and the silent battles that shaped our world. Somber, atmospheric music swells. August 1914. The lamps are going out all over Europe, as explosions rip across the continent and headlines scream, "War declared." Two brothers stand an ocean apart, bound by blood but divided by nation. In New York, Paul Warburg, a key architect of the newly formed U.S. Federal Reserve, stares at the news with a heavy heart. He had dedicated his life to creating financial stability, a system he believed could prevent such conflicts. Now, the world he tried to build was descending into chaos. Meanwhile, in Hamburg, Germany, his older brother, Max Warburg, head of the family's prestigious banking house, Warburg and Max, is a patriot. With grim determination, he signs papers authorizing massive war bonds, channeling the nation's wealth into the German war machine. He is a pillar of the German establishment, a trusted advisor to the Kaiser himself. Two brothers, both financial titans, now find their expertise weaponized against each other. Their correspondence reveals the heart-wrenching conflict. Through letters and telegrams, a tense dialogue unfolds. Paul, in America, champions neutrality. He argues that American finance must remain a bedrock of stability for the world, not a fuel for the European fire. He sees the war as a catastrophic failure of diplomacy, a descent into tribal madness. Max, from Berlin, sees it differently. He defends his homeland, arguing that Germany's economy must be protected at all costs. He is not a warmonger. In his private letters, he expresses deep anguish over the conflict. But his duty, as he sees it, is to Germany. He believes a strong Germany is essential for a balanced Europe. The tragedy is that both brothers despise the war, but their loyalties force them to serve the very empires locked in a death struggle. So, who were the Warburgs? Were they German, American, something else entirely? At their core, they were a prominent Jewish family, deeply rooted in centuries of European tradition. But they defied easy labels. They weren't fervent nationalists, nor were they Zionists seeking a new homeland. Their identity was more complex. We see it in their private moments, observing Jewish traditions, gathering for family dinners even as the world tore itself apart, and carefully burning letters that could be misconstrued by suspicious authorities on either side. Their core belief, their true nation, was a world connected by prosperity. They believed that economic interdependence was the greatest defense against war. As one family member wrote, "Our true allegiance is to peace through prosperity." They saw themselves as transnational bridge builders, and the war was the ultimate betrayal of that vision. Now, here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. While publicly aligned with their respective nations, the Warburg network quietly began to operate in the shadows. This wasn't about treason. It was about preserving the global financial system they had helped build. Behind closed doors, their influence became an invisible force. They used their vast network of contacts to facilitate trade between neutral countries, ensuring essential goods still flowed. They negotiated secret loans and maintained lines of communication between the financial centers of London, Berlin, and New York. Imagine a montage of encrypted telegraphs crisscrossing the Atlantic, ships loaded with non-military goods navigating dangerous waters under quiet agreements, and bankers meeting in neutral Switzerland to keep the arteries of global commerce from collapsing entirely. They were playing a dangerous game, acting as the world's secret financial nervous system while the body politic was tearing itself apart. But this principled tightrope walk came at a tremendous cost. In America, anti-German sentiment was rampant. Paul Warburg, with his thick German accent and family ties, became an easy target. Newspapers painted him as the German banker at the heart of America's finances, a potential spy. He was placed under surveillance and faced intense scrutiny from a Congress looking for scapegoats. The very system he helped create, the Federal Reserve, was now being used to question his loyalty. In Germany, Max faced the opposite accusation. As the war dragged on and desperation grew, his international connections were viewed with suspicion. Hardliners accused him of being too cosmopolitan, of having sympathies for the enemy, of aiding international financiers who they claimed were strangling Germany. Both brothers, men of immense influence, found themselves isolated and attacked, their reputation shredded by the very nationalism they had always sought to transcend. Music shifts to a more tragic, defeated tone. By 1918, the world the Warburgs knew had crumbled. The German Empire collapsed in defeat. Max Warburg walks through the ruins of Hamburg, not just the physical ruins of a city, but the ruins of its financial district, the world he had commanded. The soldiers returning home were not heroes, but broken men in a broken nation. The entire system he had worked to serve and protect had evaporated, leaving behind hyperinflation, political chaos, and a deep, collective trauma. The old order was dead. Yet, as one empire fell, another rose, and the Warburg vision endured. In the United States, Paul Warburg played a crucial role in steering the American economy into the post-war era. He helped integrate the Federal Reserve into its new position as the dominant force in global finance. As diplomats carved up Europe at the Treaty of Versailles, a treaty Max Warburg attended as a German delegate, warning in vain against its harsh terms, the financial world was being reshaped along lines Paul had helped draw. In the voiceover of their letters, we hear not triumph or defeat, but a shared grief, a profound respect for each other's integrity, and a sorrow for the world that was lost. In the decades that followed, the Warburg name began to fade from the public consciousness, overshadowed by the more sensational legends of families like the Rothschilds. The Warburgs preferred to operate quietly, their influence felt but rarely seen. But their legacy is all around us. The concept of a central bank managing a nation's economy, the practice of financial diplomacy to prevent conflict, the very architecture of our interconnected global financial system. These are the systems the Warburgs championed and built. The family's story doesn't end with finance. The next generation channeled their inheritance not into empires or dynasties, but into quiet, impactful philanthropy. We see them rebuilding European institutions after the devastation of the Second World War. They founded and funded institutes for art, science, and education. Their wealth, once used to finance nations, was now used to cultivate knowledge and heal the wounds of conflict. Their motto could have been, "Our wealth serves humanity, not crowns." So, the next time you look at the skyline of a modern city, the glowing towers of New York, the financial hub of London, the rebuilt heart of Berlin, remember the invisible architects. The Warburgs stood between empires, caught in a storm of history. They didn't seek fame or glory, they sought to build bridges. And in many ways, those financial and cultural bridges are what still hold our world together. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into a forgotten chapter of history. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden histories, and let me know in the comments which historical family or event you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, stay curious.